All right now. Hey, ladies. How y'all doing today?
Doing great.
How are you?
Blessed and highly favored.
All right now.
Likewise.
All right. All right, you all. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Wealthy Sis podcast. And we're tapping in with you all from our new location. We're plugged in today with the podcast doctor. And I'm feeling really good about this session. How y'all ladies feeling?
Yeah, it's
Love
fly.
it.
I love the
Love
space.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's great.
Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about you all? If you're just now tuning in with us, we are sitting down with Brand Lab Consulting.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies, you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah.
Well, I am Coach Latoya. I am a business consultant and a executive life coach from Bold University is a business division of Brandon Lab Consulting.
Okay.
And so I'm here with my beautiful partner, Catherine Clark. Hit it, sis.
Yes. So yeah, my name is Catherine Clark, and I am a poetic storyteller, a communications consultant, and a purity coach. So, but I'm excited to be here. You know, with Branding Lab Consulting, we often say we've gone from friendship to partnership, and so we're just really excited about this segment and to just share our insight and our journey and how we got here today.
I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Yes.
We are going to talk about everything branding today, which y'all know I love because my background is in branding and marketing. And it's just something about branding and storytelling that is just so important, right? Not just something, there are so many things.
Yeah.
And we're going to dive into that a little bit today.
Yeah.
But before we get into all the business,
Yeah.
let's do a little, background.
Okay.
My first question for you ladies is, I'm just curious, what podcast are you ladies currently listening to? If you are, tapped in with the podcasting.
Yes. So I started listening to something called The Gold Digger.
Oh,
Yes, podcast. And it's an amazing podcast about really connecting to your goals and your dreams. And that's all good. But being a gold digger, not a gold digger, but a gold digger.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
GOAL.
GOAL.
Yeah, I got that.
Not GOLD.
So that's really good with the concepts and the things that she offers on there. So go ahead and check it out. It's going
Okay.
to be talking about strategies and ways for you to continue to develop yourself, personal development, and it can tap into your business.
I'm going to press play on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, one that I love, it's called The School of Greatness by Lewis Howe. It is it's dynamic. He just brings all different type of thought leaders on his platform, and they just dive into like life and really how they got to where they are. So talking about the journey and the process. So it's really very inspirational, and you can hear people's like authentic, genuine stories. I mean, there's tears on there. There's all type of emotions you're going to experience. So I would definitely say check that out. It's a great platform, The School of Greatness by Lewis Howe. Yeah.
That's deep.
Yeah.
I'll say one of the ones that I've been kind of listening to on repeat is called The Eventpreneur.
Oh, okay.
She is so dope.
That's
Yeah.
different.
She is
Love
a
that.
event planning like veteran. Like she's been doing this for like over I think she says like 15 years or
Okay.
so.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
even though I don't consider myself an event planner,
Yeah.
with the Wealthy Sis Network, we do events, right?
Yeah,
and
right.
either I'm working with an event planner, I'm the event curator.
Yeah.
It's really important to know what is expected of events, right? What's your return on events?
Yeah.
What you should, how to prepare. And she dives into everything. So if you even think about doing events, you want to listen to
Yeah.
that podcast because she's going to challenge you to really, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
how can you take your events to the next level?
Yeah.
And how can you take your revenue streams from events to the next level, right?
Yeah.
It's
No,
really
that's
important. So I
awesome.
love her
I
podcast.
gotta go check that out.
Oh, for certain.
Yeah.
I done got into event planning. Need help.
You're right.
Yeah, because I know y'all have a lot coming up that we're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
So in kick-starting the podcast off, we're the Wealthy Sis Network, and one of the things that we talk about a lot is wealth. But what I like to express, what I do stress to the community is that wealth is different for everybody. It means different things. So, ladies, what does wealth mean to you?
Yeah.
Latoya, you want to start?
I guess I will start actually.
You was in deep thought.
I was looking at you because I was thinking about wealth, because wealth is such a broad word. And when I think about it, I think of legacy. So are you setting yourself up for the next generation? Like, are you connecting yourself with business? Business can open up so many things called wealth for you. And so one of the things that Catherine and I have spent time talking about is collaborative wealth, and how that can connect as we are thinking of partnership in business and how we can build that together. That oftentimes the top, we often said, see at the top, right?
Yeah.
But the top don't have to be lonely.
It don't.
And so when you're bringing up other individuals, we're talking about being connected and the community and connected to one another. Wealth is about bringing someone else up as well. And you also got to be healthy. How can you be wealthy and you're not healthy? So I'm talking about spiritually. I'm talking about emotionally, and also psychologically. Those are all important as well to build wealth and sustainability.
Yeah. Yeah. And then too, just generational. I think it's important to think about your children and your children's children. There's a proverb that says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children.
Okay.
And I mean, and it's a powerful proverb, because too often in the culture that we live in at large, it's a very selfish mindset. Yeah. It's the YOLO. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all about you, the here and now. And sometimes we don't have that legacy or that generational mindset. And I believe that if you have a healthy wealth mindset, you're thinking about those that are coming after you.
100%.
Yeah.
They say on Facebook, it's easier for some people to pay $30 a month for a phone than it is to pay for $30 a month for life insurance. And it comes from a real place.
Yeah,
it's a mindset thing. What you feel like is immediate and necessary right now, but life insurance is immediate and necessary right now.
Yeah.
Because even if you don't have children, you're still, when you leave this earth, now you're leaving your parents or your sisters, uncles to now have to pick up on the bills and everything that does come about after you leave.
Yeah, that's real talk. That's real talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. All right, we just get started.
Yes.
Well, it's so many layers to it. Ladies, where you from?
So I was born in Jamaica.
Oh.
I moved here when my mom said I was 10. I thought I was 11. But I was saying, she said 10 and a half. So whatever it is. So 11, I moved from Jamaica, moved to West Palm Beach, Florida.
Oh, wow.
And just started a journey. And in 2007, I moved to Orlando. And it's been an amazing journey. Met Catherine at University of Central Florida.
Yes,
and we connected,
we're night girls.
And we connected through a mutual organization that later on I was a vice president of. And we started growing it spiritually together. And so the sisterhood developed from that.
Blessing.
And now we're into business. So it's a great journey.
That sounds amazing. Yes. And you're from Jamaica. I love that.
Yes.
Okay. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Latoya, where you from?
Yeah, so
sorry,
originally...
sorry, Catherine.
No, it's okay. Originally, I'm from a small town called Campbellton, Florida, and it's in the Northwest Panhandle area.
Really?
Yeah, it's like an hour past Tallahassee. It's the countryside. You're going to pass through two lights, and you've been through the city? You've been through the town, actually.
I've been through towns. I've lived in towns like that.
Yeah, it's literally at the Alabama-Georgia state line. So you can stand in Campbellton, you can stand in Florida and Alabama at the same time. But yeah, I grew up in a small country town. Grew up on a farm from most of my youth years, and then once I graduated from high school, I moved here in 2005 for college. It started at UCF. But yeah, I mean, growing up in the country, it was awesome. I loved it. You run around barefoot in the fields.
Okay.
You eat blueberries from the side of the road, and you eat things that people can't even imagine. Alligator meat.
You ate alligator meat?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Squirrel. All
Squirrel?
type of, yeah.
Really?
Squirrel and rice. Sorry.
Not rice.
Listen. But that's just how it is in certain parts
I get
growing
that.
out.
I get that.
And the thing is, you're eating from the land. So it's not like you eating scavengers that's in trash cans that people used to seeing in the city. So it's a little different.
It's what? And and that's why I laugh, just because I feel like sometimes we just be so in our heads and in our presence that all we think about is the KFCs, the Golden Crust, and those general meals. But then you forget that, like, in the country, like, people are really like actually, like you said, eating and living off the land, which is honestly what they're saying that we should go back to, because they about to not even be serving us meat no more. We don't even know what we eating. So I might prefer the squirrel in the backyard. Right. At least I know it's healthy and it came from the tree.
Facts.
Oh man, ladies, you got you. I could see why you ladies have come so far together. Yeah. What brought you both to UCF?
Well, Catherine, you want to take this? Because I feel like I'm answering first.
I mean, sure. So when it came to a college choosing, I knew I was going to go to school. I'm actually first generation graduate, and Latoya is as well. Oh, wow. Coach Latoya is as well. So yeah.
That's so dope. That's big.
My parents are a little older, so they were in their they were in their 40s when they had me, and so they kind of grew up in the 60s. They grew up in a different time, Martin Luther King and all of that. So for them, education was the way out. That for them, like how we have a different mindset about building wealth and online in many different ways. For them, it was get your college degree, get your college education. So I pretty much didn't have a choice. I knew that college was the way, for me. However, deciding where I was going to go was just this huge, big deal. And I knew I needed to kind of branch out. I knew I needed to explore different cities and different areas, because I felt there was something deeper calling inside of me that knew that I had to have a change of environment. Yeah. And sometimes, I mean, you can be that beautiful flower, that beautiful seed, but you got to be planted in the right environments in order to blossom and bloom.
True. So true.
So for me, one of my brothers, bless his heart, he took me on a little college tour upon himself, me and a really good friend of mine. And then we kind of explored to different colleges, and she took the HBCU route. That's actually what she desired. But I went on and visited UCF campus. I was like, this is the place for me.
You knew.
Yeah, because I wanted to experience diversity. Where I'm from is really not diverse. Yeah. Just blacks and whites. But I wanted to experience different cultures and different foods, and it was just always inside of me. So for me, UCF was just the best option for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
UCF, this is free.
Okay.
Right.
Plugged in. I think everybody in here went to Tori. Really? You went to UCF too?
What?
I'm Full Sail. Okay.
Wow.
We here. We here.
I'm shouting out some colleges.
Full Sail be representing, so I love it. Yeah.
So for me, my journey, I was a nervous wreck moving up here. I'm gonna be honest. My two sisters moved away in college, and my parents was like, you should go. I'm like, oh my gosh, real bills gonna be out there. Yeah. And I was nervous at first, but when I moved away, it was really a place of growth for me. When I was in Jamaica, I remember telling my mom at the airport, because I was the only child growing up until I was 19. My mom decided to get pregnant, y'all. Oof. But so I am there, and I remember at the airport, I told my mom I want to go for better opportunity. So UCF stands for opportunity. Yes, so it was really a place where I met God, and where I started growing and developing into the woman. I met this powerhouse woman till today that groomed us spiritually, personally, and created that fearlessness within me, because I was a timid girl growing up. So really about how the power of you being in the right place, even when you don't really not in the right mindset yet, but it develops you. And so for me, just going to UCF have changed my life. I've met great friends. I've learned myself, became the woman that I am today, which is a part of how I became in that. And now I'm in grad school for my master's in leadership. Okay. And I'm looking forward next year, but it really was a journey for me. My mom in itself have probably less than an 8th grade education. So education was not something that I heard about, that every one of us was pursuing, me and my sisters, but really for me is
you really had to push yourself.
Yeah, it's about breaking generational curse for me, educationally, in health wise, in all areas actually, when it comes to that. So it's really been a beautiful journey.
You ladies are amazing.
Oh, you're amazing.
Man, I feel like we were connected for a reason. I love that we're here today.
Yeah.
I do. I really do.
Yeah.
Why don't we tell everybody a little bit about your brand and the services that you offer? Catherine, if you want to take lead.
Yeah. So we're focusing on Branding Lab Consulting, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I'm like, we got like.
Well, let's talk about your collaborative company.
Absolutely. Yeah. So with Branding Lab Consulting, we have a few different services. We obviously offer consulting for one-on-one, but also for startup teams.
Okay.
We also provide, a few different. So we have the consulting. We have a training called Brandology, and so we take you back to the basics of really understanding your brand identity. We go through it. We touch a little on somewhat like customer journey, identifying your audiences.
That's
like
important.
That is so important.
That's key.
So we have a 3D system actually within our Brandology training that we focus on, and so we're really excited about just being able to share that to different groups, to different businesses, different conferences. So there's the Brandology training, and then last but not least, we have our what is our last one? Oh, we do different business segments, and the segments, one is called Healed for Business, and then the other one is called Call to Entrepreneurship. So, because a lot of times, we want to do business, but we're broken.
Yeah.
And we're bleeding. And so we're going to get to that a little later, just talking about being healed for business, because it's connected to mental and emotional health and wellness. So, yeah.
We'll definitely touch on that because that's so important. We didn't realize that, how important that your emotions, we call it, I often say you don't just need an IQ for a business, you need an EQ.
Oh, 100%.
And so with that, we think our intelligence is going to get us far, but it's really about emotional stability. And so for all those sisters who are listening, go to therapy.
Yes.
Go to those places.
Yes.
Make sure that put yourself on schedule. And so with that, when it comes to that, us connecting with our services, Brandon Lab Consulting is the business division of Bowl University, and we are a faith-based lifestyle and business network for women. And I'm the founder, and Catherine is a co-founder for the business division. And so we got to connect together because we realized that women need the total lifestyle. What does that look like?
Yeah.
Other women are interested in business. Some need health.
Yeah.
Before you can do, we met clients and we're talking to clients, and some of them are moving forward with their business, and some of them have their past holding them back.
Yeah.
So we have to really get to the real meat of things, and why people are not moving on or staying stagnated. And so in order for them to be successfully moving in their business, we have to go back to the real person, the real you, and so so Catherine kind of hit on what our business offers. So Bold offer wellness. So we offer a lot on wellness. We do Ladies Beach Getaway.
That's coming up.
I just rebrand myself as an executive life coach. I really want to move into talking to high executive leaders who are suffering imposter syndromes and things like that.
I see that for you.
And so all of those things is to connect around leadership. Self-leadership is very important as well.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about decoding your brands.
Okay.
Let's talk about
good
it.
Topic.
So branding and storytelling often involve visual identity. That's so important, right? You think about the logo, the website, social media presence, online presence, overall. How do you feel that women entrepreneurs can ensure that their visual branding is in alignment with their values and their ultimate audience?
First of all, you have to identify, what do you value?
Okay.
Right? Because honestly, sometimes we all value something. We all have values.
But it's different.
But you have to be very introspective to really understand what your values, from a business sense, is having those core values. What are the core values for your company? Is it trust? Is it leadership? Is it, there's so many different words that can describe your core values. So I would say first identifying that. And once you identify those core values, then it'll be able to help you to see what type of content, what's relevant to who you are and what you're offering.
Yeah, and storytelling is really about experience. It's really about your target
this is powerful.
Experience, targeted audience, and your pain point. So you will have someone, for example, we're tapping into domestic violence in a few months. October actually. And so we're finding a lot of women who have suffered that as an experience have now started woman development for healing women in those trauma, or they become a counselor in those things. And we're talking about brand storytelling. But at times we don't know how to use transferable experience or skills.
Okay.
And so that's where you develop your brand identity and strategy. And so that's why we teach individuals our 3D system, which is discover your business infrastructure. What are you really offering? And you also going to decode your style, and you also going to dissect your message. Those are all connected to storytelling, so that you're visually telling a story from probably your past and more like you have overcame it and now you want to help others.
Yeah.
And so storytelling is a visual, but you want to be authentic.
Yeah,
100%.
we're
If
big
your
on
if your
authenticity.
brand is not playful,
Yeah.
why you out there on the playground? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
So you got to
Right.
kind of find your niche so you can find your reach.
Oh, I love that. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
that.
it's so important. And
So-
then too,
Go ahead.
and then too, connected because sometimes even sharing with your storytelling is often connected to your personal brand, and sometimes there may be a topic or subject or a cause that's laid on your heart, and maybe that's not your personal story. Maybe it's the story of a family member or a loved one or something close to you that can trigger
Yeah.
like, I have to do something about this.
Yeah.
And prime example, years ago I started a nonprofit called Beauty Box Inc. And we bring awareness on human trafficking. So I remember telling sis, I was like, why should I start this? Why would God put something like this on my heart? Because I don't want to be rejected, because I'm like, we all have a different journey and story, and that just wasn't my story. So I was like, man, should I not? I was a little apprehensive. And then, sis Latoya, I'm saying sis, but that's what, when we say sis, we talking about each other. But and we got some other sisters too, but we like sis. So anyway.
Sis Network.
Right. We here. So I was like, sis, I said, what? She was like, you know what? You don't have to, you said you don't have to relate. You don't have to relate to care.
Yeah, you don't. That's so true.
But
somebody just told me that 2 days ago.
Yeah,
Jesus. Okay.
You don't have to relate to care. Sometimes, and this is the revelation was given to me, sometimes it's about an impartation and not just relating.
Yeah.
So that's something that was spoken to me. It's like you have to sometimes impart who you are into others, because that's what they need. Sometimes you don't need to have gone through the same process, because you can't help them get them out sometimes. So I was like, that makes sense.
I gotta apologize to somebody now that you say that. I gotta apologize to somebody.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy, because
good.
it's gonna come full circle. So we could go ahead and just talk about it. So
Yeah.
I had went to a domestic violence shelter to seek counseling.
Okay.
Because I knew it had been 8 years since I've been out of my abusive situation, but I still have a lot of ish to work on as far as in personally develop and going through it for 7 years. Yeah. That's a whole lot that you've gone through to just get rid of overnight. But the problem with me was the person who they assigned me with. Not only was she relatively younger than me, but she didn't have any experience. I didn't feel like she had enough experience to be able to be the person who I could confide in. And now that you say that, which somebody else told me like 2 days ago, like, why did they have to have gone through it or have been like, or maybe it was like to what you've said. Yeah. Maybe someone in her family had gone through it. Like there was a reason why she was working there, obviously, and doing this work. Yeah. But I wasn't receptive of her help because I felt like you just said. So I owe her an apology. Wow. It's crazy though, It's crazy. Life is crazy like that.
Yeah, it always comes full circle. But for our benefit.
For our benefit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, jeez, what a conversation. What a conversation.
Yeah.
Domestic Violence Awareness Month is coming up in October.
Yeah,
but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the moment to say this. If you are currently experiencing domestic violence, or if you have in the past, you're not alone. There are other people that are currently experiencing it, and there are women that have made it out, and I'm one of those women that have made it out when I honestly, for a long time, I would say I'm not supposed to be here because I thought I was supposed to be dead because he had tried to kill me. Wow. So but then I realized I was speaking death over myself, and I'm like, well, if you keep saying that, you're gonna die for some reason. If you keep speaking that over yourself, so what I'm saying is, reach out to somebody, talk to somebody, because there are people that can assist you, but nobody can help you if you're not saying anything.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I guess that's all I'm going to say on that.
I want to put that's good. I want to put a quick plug right there. So domestic violence is not my story. But for some reason, I begin to meet women with that story. And I recently gave that baton to my pastor, and she hosts it. This is going to be our second. I've been hosting it every year for some reason on domestic violence and trauma. You got to be healed from your trauma and just walking through your process of healing.
Yeah.
So every October we host something called She Survived Her Story. And she hosts it, and we bring out mental health experts, and we're
So
talking
important. It's important.
real, because
Yeah.
it happens in the church too.
It happens
You know,
everywhere.
and we praising over it, and then it happened in corporate setting,
Yeah.
and we climbing the ladder over it. And so just in general about whether it's not just domestic violence, it's healing, it's rejection, it's pain. Pain is universal. It's common. We all have one thing in common that I often hear, really my pastor say, we all have pain in common. And what pain looks like to you might be different for me, but just really about seeking help. And it's so important with that. But yes.
Yeah, and trauma is not discriminatory.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not
so this
discriminatory.
is for our men and our women out there, because I know men that have been in abusive
And
situations
men
as
too.
well.
Yeah, men.
Yeah, and they will not say nothing.
Right.
They will not say anything because
Yeah.
they feel like, why would I tell you that my girlfriend is putting her hands on
Right.
me? Yeah.
Right.
So it's
And sometimes the men need the help themselves.
100%.
How can they stop? Maybe they've seen it before.
Right.
It's so
They
much
grew
to
up.
it.
It's so much
It's
to
so
it.
much to it. It's so much to
it.
unpack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're going to have a whole discussion
but
on
heal
that.
for business.
Yeah.
Heal for business.
Yeah.
Let me know. Definitely keep me in the loop on your
Yeah,
upcoming event.
absolutely.
I would
Yeah.
love to partake
Absolutely.
however I can. Sheesh, where we gonna go from here? This was our first segment called Her Story, and as you can see, honestly, we was talking about branding, but
Right.
it's health and wellness. All of that plays into just identifying who you are in the
Yes.
brand that you're creating, because
Yes.
ultimately, no matter what, your brand is still a reflection of who you are.
Yes, it is.
The brand is a reflection of the CEO, the founders,
Yeah,
and those that are
absolutely.
the head of it. So
Yeah.
in order to develop a healthy business, you have to start with your own mental, physical
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
health.
true.
It's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. You're so
Ladies,
right.
how do you show up consistently for your brand? Because we talk about that a lot. Like showing up consistently, showing up even when you don't feel like it, but like, I got to show up.
Yeah, we actually had a really in-depth conversation about this, about just showing up consistently. Because oftentimes we think showing up is just being present on social media. We think showing up is just visibility. We think that's what we think showing up. And
more to it.
and yeah, there's so much more to it, because I was like, sometimes, and I'm in a season now where I can be transparent. Like I'm not as consistent on social media at this in this particular season of my life, but I'm working behind the scenes.
But you working.
I'm getting it done behind the scenes.
And that's all that really matters.
So you may not be present on social media, but go out and network. Try to connect with that audience, connect with the people that you need to connect with. So showing up isn't always being on social media or posting on social media.
I agree 100%.
It's so important.
Yeah, I totally concur with Catherine was saying.
Yeah.
And showing up is when you can show up. It's really, showing up to me is really integrity at the end of the day. What are you doing when people are not looking?
Yeah.
Are you showing up for you? You got to show up for you.
Yeah.
It's called self-leadership.
Yeah.
And so when you start self-leadership, you can start leading the ship. You can start leading others. And so when I kind of look and pull back and say, how can I change? I'm going to put my health and wellness in this again, because it's all connected to how you're showing up for you. A few years ago, I dealt with burnout, and that's why it kind of pulled me in to start Bowl University as a professional young woman. Wanted to grow more, but I was disconnecting from my personal life. I was growing morally in my professional life and not in my emotional health or physical health. And so wherever you spend most of your time, that's where you're going. And so showing up for you is really assessing your life. So I do this thing called life assessment with most of my client when I work with them. And you'll be surprised how many times you're not spending time in the areas that you say that you value.
Yeah.
Right.
And so value is so important.
It is.
You have to show up for what you value the most.
Right.
And so once I kind of look and go in a deeper work of just really moving into those places to see how can I become a better leader, is to become a better leader to myself first.
Yeah.
Woof.
Yep. That's good.
Dropping gems.
That's
Okay.
good. That's good.
Okay. It starts with like you said, self-leadership.
Yep. It starts with you.
So as ladies behind branding, I don't know if y'all like me, but I notice brands everywhere. I can't even watch a movie without, look at that branding.
Right.
Look at them. They think they slay, just throwing a logo in there. Like, I see it everywhere. And we all have like our favorite brands that we're just like, yo, they're killing it.
Yeah.
What are some brands that you let's give one that you ladies feel like this brand is doing it?
What's that pastor, that young lady name? I think she's like a pastor. Like, she has a very creative brand. What is her name?
Do I know her?
You know her.
Oh, I think she's in Texas.
Yeah.
I think it's Pastor Taylor. She's Dr. Taylor now. I follow her on social media, and I mean, the lady's a pastor. She's
a businesswoman.
I mean, she's colorful.
She does a lot.
So
her brand is very colorful, and so it's attractive. It's engaging.
Bold.
It's invigorating. It's bold. So I love,
and it's her,
and it's her.
Yeah.
You know,
although because at times what we think of people, we think about what people do, their roles. Oh, you a pastor and you do this. I'm in ministry as well, but I'm also a CEO.
Yeah.
I'm also a coach. I like to have fun. You're going to see me in my bathing suit.
Okay, yeah, you
know,
be out.
I'm
You
not
be
trying
turned
to
up.
sell nothing.
Okay. I'll be like, okay, look
Turn
at
up for
you.
the
yes.
No, I love it
I'm
though.
just trying to say what brand. When we think of brand, we think of the role and people title. We get all into
we get caught up
we
in
got
the
caught up
titles.
into the titles, and we don't think
Yeah.
about
Okay.
brand is also connected to your personality a bit.
right.
You know, we do things called a psychology of colors. When you think about it, when you're looking at brand, it connect with your senses, your five senses. And so, can people touch? Can they taste? And so you got to connect your brand to those things. And if you are a person into colors, you really want to connect with colors. And some of us are born with our brand. You need to do some brand improvement
Okay.
and rebranding.
Right.
Okay, yeah,
Because,
rebranding is important.
Change
You
your
need to know
outfit
when.
too.
Yeah.
Change your outfit. Get a little bit. Changes is good.
They say I always
is.
have on a tan blazer,
Yeah.
and I've been trying to buy bright color blazers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Change your colors. Nothing wrong with you.
And you evolve. Sometimes, we have to evolve within our businesses.
True. Very
you
true.
know, you may start out because it's comfortable to often hide behind personality, or we'll say, oh, that's just my personality.
Yeah.
Hide
And
behind your brand.
maybe it's not your personality. Maybe something happened along the way to cause you to lean more to the left or lean more to the right. So that's why it's important to show up and truly be authentic, to make sure you're not hiding behind your brand, because you may have a brand that's, serious and dark and deep, but maybe you are truly a joyful person. So it's like, it needs to connect. There has to be a connection somewhere. So that's why we have to be introspective to make sure that we're not, again, hiding behind our brands.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's deep.
And it's really dealing with fear, at times. Will people take this on, For me, it was like, I might not have the right aesthetics on social media, but I got reels in my phone, and it's filled up because I don't want to post.
Okay.
Get rid of them out of your phones and post. Don't think about what
Don't
it looks
think
like,
about
because you
the
might
look
not have the
always.
capital for the marketing team.
Yeah.
But you need to get started.
Just show up.
You need to
Yes.
show
show
up,
up.
get started, and do it
Start
even when
somewhere.
you're unexperienced and you don't have the team.
Yeah.
And so at times we pull ourselves back because we're saying, I don't have the resources. Go to YouTube University.
YouTube
for some of the things
University,
that
honey.
you need.
Listen here.
Some of the things you can learn. Now,
Listen.
sometimes you need to hire the expert.
Right,
So
right,
you have to have a
absolutely.
balance
Yeah,
between what you're
absolutely. You
doing,
do.
because the expert is going to take you further than where you're trying to get yourself.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. When we started off, I say me, when I started off in production and I was working with artists, I was doing behind the camera because we had all these ideas, and we knew, okay, if we want to shoot a video, it's going to cost upwards of $1,000, but we don't need to shoot a video right now. We just need some content for social media. So I'm like, well, I have a camera. Let's do it. Let's start filming.
Yeah.
And I just started there. And then it was from there to the tripod. And then from the tripod, it's like, okay, we got 3 cameras now. So now we're doing angles. But it took just first believing in myself and just picking up the camera like I could do this. And now I'm working my way from behind the camera to in front of the camera to be able
There we go.
to help tell stories, but still in ways behind the camera as we're starting to produce other women's segments. You know what I'm saying? But it takes getting started.
Absolutely.
And if I would have never got started having no resources, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Right.
You know where I'm going?
Yeah, no.
Look, it just takes
love it.
getting started.
Just do
it's
it.
true.
Like
Showing
Nike.
up for yourself. Yes.
It's true.
Ladies, as we move into our next segment, before we close out all that good stuff, I want to talk a little bit about money, financial freedom.
Yeah.
This segment is called Cash Out because a lot of the times we're talking about how to secure the bag, how to make money, but we don't spend enough time on how do we keep our money and how do we grow our money, right?
Yeah.
So I like to just learn from different women. What was your experience growing up with money? What type of investments do you have? So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit.
Okay.
In growing up, I know you kind of spilled a little bit, but was money something that was talked about in your households?
No, we definitely didn't have money conversations. I mean, other than me overhearing mom and dad, paying different bills and writing down the bills and different things, or hearing them making phone calls over the phone. And, we had a little dial phone. I don't know if y'all remember the little dial phone.
I remember.
That you had to turn back
on
in
the wall.
Day.
Ooh, took a long time.
Yes.
Came from a long way.
Yeah, so I just remember that, but it never was financial empowerment in the home. And I don't think it was something that was intentional. It's just that they just did what they had.
Yeah.
Did the best with what they had. Now, I will say my dad left me, rest his soul, he passed in 2016. And I'll never forget, my dad didn't speak much, but when he spoke, you listened.
Yeah.
And so I remember him saying, and my father, just much like Coach Latoya, he only had like a 9th grade education, and he had to quit school because his father, my grandfather, was a sharecropper.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was a sharecropper, and he had like 11 siblings. So my father was the eldest. He had to quit school to help take care of the farm and grow sugarcane and sweet potatoes. Yeah, at a very young age. But I'll never forget my father telling me before I went off to school, he said, pay yourself first. And it was so simple.
So simple, but
it's
important.
so real. He's like, I don't care if it's $1. I don't care if it's 50 cents. He said, pay yourself first before you do everything else. So I'll never forget that, him sharing that with me. But as far as different investments, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, one of my brothers and sister-in-law sat down with me, and she was like, hey, I've been learning about, wealth and growing wealth and how wealthy people do it. And she was like, hey, they helped me start an IRA, a Roth IRA account. And she said, you know what? She was like, roll over whatever you got money from. I think I was working a full-time job at the time. So she said, roll that money over into the Roth IRA. She was like, I don't care if you got to sell your house, sell your car. She was like, never touch this money. And so I did. They sat down with me, and we have a little there was a little notepad that they gave me, and they was like, hey, this is where you can do your budgeting. So they really kind of poured into me, at least starting on that journey to start having
That's
a
so
wealth
important.
and money mindset. So I do appreciate that. Now I have a goal at some point, because with Roth IRA, you can save up to, I think, $1,000. That's $8,000 per year.
Okay.
So if you can do the max, because, with compound interest, imagine by the time you're 60 and your retirement age, you should at least be a millionaire.
You should.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's one. Another great resource is called Prize Pool. I came across that by a gentleman. His name is Anthony O'Neill, and he, you know about Anthony? Yeah. So he, that's all his platform is about, is really educating others about, especially minorities, on financial empowerment and investing and saving. And so I learned about Prize Pool through him. So I was like, let me go ahead and download this app. And it's just another way where you can save your money if you don't want to keep it in the banks.
I'm gonna check it out.
And you can, and I can send you my little code too. You
send it to me, and then I'm gonna send it to the community.
Right? Yeah.
You know how I go.
Yeah.
Gotta plug everybody in.
Right. So, but yeah, it's a great way to save your money and just pull it outside of the banks.
Yeah.
You just gotta have the balance. It's okay to have money in the banks, but I think you should have other places that you have your money as well.
You have to diversify your income.
You do.
Yeah. What about you, Latoya?
Well, I think for me, for entrepreneurship has been this journey for me, but I started over and then I started again. And when it came to that, working a 9 to 5, I'm still working education. So when it comes to that, I look at education as good. It's going to set you up for your retirement.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Do I want to continue that? Yes. But I want to move into consulting after a while. And so when I kind of look at it's like a two dynamic as far as creating wealth for me. There's a part that's going to retire me with my 401k and all that good stuff, right? Is it building wealth for me? So that was always been my question. So when I look at entrepreneurship and the route that I'm going, I'm on a journey of creating a more for me a more wealth mindset and more stability of where my money can grow and how I can grow it. So for me, it's just really locked into resources. Like in the past, of taking workshops or watching the right individual on governmental fundings. And Catherine been on that journey.
Okay.
And just
Honey.
learning about it.
Yes.
Tap
Yeah.
into that. There's money
Where the
out
money
there.
reside? Where the money reside?
Working on that government
So,
contract.
yeah, exactly. So just really looking at where the money reside, and so and finding that, and just really having. But one of the strategy that I used to use more often was the envelope method, and you know,
Right, the
just in
cash.
general,
Tori's doing
having
that.
cash only on
Yeah.
you because
Yeah.
you're gonna bring that little card out. You know what's gonna happen.
you
Swipe,
swipe,
swipe, swipe.
Swipey. You don't
Swipe.
think twice.
And so you don't think twice.
Yeah.
Or you separate your account in different. You have your savings in
Yeah.
one.
I have
Just a
multiple
general
accounts.
thing.
Yeah.
But for those things to be shifted is really finding out what is your relationship with money. For me, it wasn't a conversation from my parents about money and how I spend it. So for me, it was a learning about money and continue to relearn about money because it's just really is how money can find you as well. Because at times we're looking for money, but we need to set ourselves up where money find us. And so how can we do that? Through our services, through what we offer, and to our worth, you know, and talking about our worth. You know, your net worth
Yes.
will change your net worth.
It will.
And
determines
so
your net worth.
sometimes you have to start moving into different circles, and the right circles, of course, but where you're going, that's where you need to be around those type of places and the right people and the right crowd in being in professional development networks. That's going to cause you to learn because we're constantly learning as human beings. We have to continue. We don't know everything.
Right.
And so, but I'm open to those who are experts in finance.
Yes.
And not just the basic budgeting, but moving into investment. So for me, it's just continue to learn about what's out there and how can I continue to grow in that area.
Investing in your knowledge
Yes.
is so important.
Yeah.
I said, like, there's so much, like,
Student.
even if you can't financially afford it, there are so many free resources out there.
That's true.
Especially at the bank. Like, if you walk into the Bank of America and you just say, can I sit with somebody, you can ask them like every single question that you have, and they'll let you know like what options are available. A lot of
Yeah.
the times we're just too
Yeah.
we're not maybe privy of the information being there, or you know what I'm saying, or we're
Absolutely,
just
it's
too
true.
caught up in our own momentum
Yeah.
to stop and take that step. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But there's
yeah.
so many resources out there.
Yeah, that's
You ladies
true.
are amazing. I love what you're doing, especially like when it comes to working with others within the community.
Yeah.
When it comes to the mental health side, when it comes to helping women with, you know, building their businesses, because it's so important.
It is.
When we talk about generational wealth, I feel like in starting a business and in setting yourself up for success, like you
Yeah.
create that. Like
Yeah.
if you think about the Johnson and, you know, we don't like the Johnson and Johnson company, but like the Johnson and Johnson name started with someone who started the company, and now it's a legacy and a household name. Might not be the best, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
all these names that we hear, you know what I'm saying?
They
Like
started from somewhere.
started from somewhere.
And we
Yes.
all work for an entrepreneur. When you
Everybody
think about
works
it,
for an
Everybody
entrepreneur.
everybody
does.
work for an entrepreneur because there's some
absolutely.
people who are, you know, they like security. They like
Yep.
the, you know, things like that. Some like people like security, but some people like systems. I love systems.
Ooh, I love
So when when I think of systems and why I became a business consultant is because I love systems. So a part of what we do membership design and program development with people. You know, some of our clients have gained great success with what they're doing and creating a space where women can start thriving together. So we have the Boss View Club at
Yes.
Bold.
Yeah.
And so it is so much more on a lot of people. You look at the the networking companies, Catherine, you kind of know about them a little bit.
Multi-level marketing?
Yeah, multi-level marketing. People start off there because they have a business idea.
Yeah.
But sometimes they don't jump out, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta know.
Because they're afraid they don't know how to run their business.
Yes,
Whether it's
exactly.
operation and strategy.
It's the package of this is what you can do and I'm handing it to you.
Yeah, the operation and strategy. So we move into business infrastructure because that is so important. Do you have a B2B? Do you have a B2C? What do you have? Do you have a membership design? So we have to ask those questions so that people are not afraid of systems, although there's security.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where the fear will come in, because we can show up to a job and work and get a check every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But then you're living from paycheck to paycheck and they're not paying you. So the great thing is, an example, Catherine and I, telling myself. So we recently did a training for a local nonprofit, right? And honestly, the money that we made that day is not compared to what I make hourly.
I get that.
So that's what I'm talking about, is really finding out who's going to pay you your worth.
Yes.
Right.
And are you going to stick to it?
Yeah.
You know,
and a lot of times we have an issue, and I did, especially starting out as an entrepreneur, naming your price.
Oh yeah, that's the hardest part sometimes.
Yeah,
it's the hardest
your
part.
price.
You'll go back and forth. Like, is this it? Am I charging too much? Am I? But
yeah,
honestly, I feel like you just have to know your worth at the end of the day. To be honest, like if you say your number is 6 figures, your number is 6 figures, and who is someone else to tell you different?
Right.
To be honest, if you have the knowledge, experience, X, Y, and Z to put behind it, that's your price.
Yep.
That's how I honestly feel when it comes to pricing. I feel like, you definitely want to have a strategy in place.
Right.
You don't want to just be throwing numbers out the sky.
Random, no.
But like you also have to be comfortable once you set your price, and you have to know, like, this is my price and this is what I'm worth, and I'm not going to take less than if I don't have to.
Yeah.
We talked about that in the last podcast. Just we talked about qualifying your clients. And one of those qualifying,
that's really good.
One of those qualifying check boxes is typically like the budget, right?
Yes.
Well, can you afford to work with me?
Right.
And a lot of the times, what we said, early in business, you want to take every client, right? So sometimes you'll lessen your price. Sometimes you'll do work for free because, you're like, okay, I want to build my portfolio, or this client will help lead me to the next client.
Right.
And like you said, you have to really evaluate, is it worth your time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You got to level up.
Yeah.
There comes a time that you have to kind of remember what you're worth, and it's good to get started, but there's a time where you're like, you know what, I'm really good at this. I'm really good at what I do. My time, I'm giving you most of my time. Yeah. I can make you move faster if you hire me.
Yeah.
Right. So in order for me to make you move faster, you're gonna have to pay a little bit faster. So it's not all about the money, but you got to think about. That's why I'm so big on people. You got to invest where you want to go. You have to.
You do.
At times, and you might not have the capital, but I want to encourage someone to just continue to keep going. And pushing. There comes a time in your business that you're going to have to change your prices.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, yeah,
everything going up.
Every year your prices should change. I say that to every single one of my clients. If you have the same price this year that you had last year, something's wrong because you're not moving with inflation, which means now you're losing money.
Yeah, and and it's okay to see what I'm using the word competitors, quote unquote, but if you're starting out in a business and you have no idea, you don't want to throw a random number out there, it's okay to kind of do the research and see those that are maybe in a similar industry.
Analysis.
Yeah, to
100%.
see kind of what they're charging, to give you an idea. So at least you'll have a place to start. So I do encourage that as well.
Oof, some gems.
Yeah.
Yes,
y'all was dropping all the gems today. Y'all know we could talk about this for days.
Yeah.
We could, and we're gonna have to pick up this conversation.
Yes.
Ladies, where can we find you all? If I want to tap in with you, for our listeners, where can they find you?
Well, I would say the first the first spot is Instagram. Instagram.
But you say you're not that active on Instagram, so where we could catch you for real?
But no. Honestly, when I am the most active, it is on Instagram.
Okay.
So
we got you.
Yeah. If you send me something on Facebook, it might be a good 2 weeks, a month, because Facebook is very engaging, and so it's easy to miss whether it's a message or a notice. But Instagram, it's kind of black and white. It's easy to check your messages. So we do have, you can find us both on Branding Lab Consulting.
Okay.
Branding Lab Consulting. We're both on that platforms. But my Instagram page is IAM _ Catherine, my first name with a C, V. I am _Catherine V.
Toya?
Concur what Catherine said. All right, so you can find me at Coach Latoya on IG, and also for Bold University, the division of for Brandon Lab Consulting is at Bold University or www.bolduniversity.net.
And we're going to plug all that below.
Yes,
so don't worry if you didn't catch the spelling.
Yes.
We got you.
Yes.
Listen, ladies, men, our Wealthy Sis Network family, no matter who you are, the journey to understanding and elevating your brand identity will never be over. At the end of the day, you have to consistently evaluate where you are, look at what's going on in the world around you, and continue to grow with society. We hope that the tips that we share today will make your journey a little bit easier. But we have the Branding Lab in the building. We have OC, your marketing guru, in the building. So at the end of the day, if you need help, the help is here.
Yes.
We got you.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us
Thank you for
on
having
this
us.
week's episode of the Wealthy Sis podcast. I just want to remind you all, if you love our podcast and you want to stay connected, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, especially if you're listening on Spotify, because we see the subscribers going up.
All right,
so
now.
make sure you subscribe so that you get the notifications on every episode we have coming up. You can also catch us on YouTube for visuals. And if you want to see all the good stuff like the behind the scenes and everything, that's on our Patreon. You can subscribe to that as well.
Right.
In close out, ladies, you are phenomenal.
Aww.
Is there anything you want to leave our guests with?
Thank you. We just want you to be encouraged in your entrepreneurship journey. And it looks different for everyone. And your bank account does not define if you're a great entrepreneur or not.
It does not.
It doesn't, because you could have 6 figures in your account one day, and then something could happen and you got $5 tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
So you better know that you are called to this thing, and you have to stick with it and just be bold and not be afraid and take those risks. So just be encouraged in your journey and in your process.
My encouragement is to continue to be authentic, show up when nobody else is showing up. And also remember, business is a calling, so answer the call.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
And we are signing out from the Wealthy Sis Network. Until next time.
Bye.